Everybody always asks me this question, and there is no standard answer. IBM years ago would say, well, we've got 30,000 patents, we're making $2 billion on those patents on licensing. Divide that through, and well, it says about 50K per patent. Is that a valid number? Well, in a certain instance, it might be. I was doing a negotiation today for a technology patent with 4 patents that we started out at 15 and rose to 100,000. It's an interesting starting place, knowing that you've already expended $10,000, $20,000 to get the patent and probably paid some maintenance fees on it. A lot of patents are worthless. They can't be sold to external parties. They don't cover a technology that is going to be easily used in a new product. They're not really worth the paper. IBM, even though it has 40,000 patents on its books, when you ask them, well, how many of those patents are you actually licensing and making this $1.6 to $2 billion licensing income in on, they'll tell you 200. It's the 200 basic fundamental patents that go on I/O devices, go on printers, goes in a laptop, goes in various server products. Those are the real valuable ones. In fact, when Apple came out with its first laptop, it paid more licensing revenue to IBM to get access to those standard I/O buses and so forth that they needed to have a laptop than they were making on the laptop themselves. That has changed. Today, even a phone has thousands of patents that are equivalent to it. And if you have to pay licenses for some of those features in the phone, there's a phenomenon which they call royalty stacking. How much royalty can you afford to pay out to other people's technologies that is going to take it out of your margin? If you have your own patents and can stack them up and do a cross-license with the other players in the market, you can probably get a product out there and not suffer this margin erosion. And that's why it's important for every company to think about intellectual property. There are some people out there who will buy up your technology. I've worked with some of them. I've avoided some of them. I actually was one of them at one time. I was a co-founder of IPVAL. I was a patent troll. And kind of sideways into it because the group I was with got bought out and put into that company. It wasn't something I liked because it was doing litigation work, and I like doing much more business build type licensing. But it is a way of commercializing your IP. There are auctions today. Ocean Tomo out of Chicago, Jim Malachowski's group, has set up a situation where right now, 3 to 6 months, they are setting up auctions for IP where they will sell out, they will publish a book that says all the IP they're offering. They will establish some baseline pricing for it, and then they will actually have an auction. First one, tanked. Didn't do well at all because people weren't used to it. Excuse me. They're now into about their 10th auction, 8th to 10th, and they're actually making some money. There are people that have made very successful sales of their IP in the $1 million range for a few patents. Many of them, though, have been sold at $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a piece. But they've been sold in bulk. 100 patents from one company sold like that to another company in that field. So there are ways of doing that. There are aggregators. Intellectual Ventures was started by a gentleman named Nathan Merkel, who was the old CTO of Microsoft. A billionaire in his own right, started a troll at one time called ThinkFire, but has created this Intellectual Ventures in Redmond, Washington, where they are buying up patents. 2 years ago in bulk, they've got about 30,000 patents now. Now they've got a new fund, a new strategy where they're trying to develop sales and buys of very high quality, technically oriented patents that will fill out portfolios for them. And what they're doing is offering an insurance policy. By joining our company as a subscriber, you essentially get a free pass to use the technology that's in their portfolio. And that is essentially an insurance policy. You know you can't get sued on any of those patents. So you make a determination as to how much I can pay on a yearly basis to make sure I don't have a patent suit. Patent suits in general cost, for a relatively small patent suit, $3 to $5 million of each party's funds to go through that case. That is all the discovery, all the preparation, the claims tables, preparatory claim. A big court case, saying something like the RIM or whatever, you're talking $20 to $100 million just in legal expenses to go through those cases. They are not true. It was once told to me that if you think polo is a sport of games, try patent litigation. There there are a lot of ponies being paid for, and there's a lot of expense. There are patent trolls who essentially are companies that have cash base, will buy up patents for its litigation potential, and then go test the market and say, and advise people that they have a patent that we believe you're infringing, and you have to pay us a fee, or we'll go ahead and blackmail in some cases. Some people will go out there and actually peg the price that they're charging people just below the litigation pain level, so that companies would rather pay that than go into a litigation. And it's just determining what that value is. There are other companies that will actually do it, and in case you research, one of the companies that's out in the LA area right now, they actually have about 70 portfolios they're licensing, and most of it by litigation. And what happens there is you take the company to court, you advise them that they have infringed your technology, you prepare all the court documents, and then usually before it gets to that court room, you make a deal. Just so you can avoid court costs and so forth, and that litigation time and not know what a jury might award for something. You make a deal, the suit goes away. In general, today there's about 2,000 to 3,000 patent suits on the U.S. docket. So it's not a huge amount, but there is a huge amount of value tied up. There are brokers, agent finders that will help these companies find technologies. Just go through search engines to try and find what the latest patents are, what they might apply to, what the claims are addressing. Just trying to find where there might be value inherent in some of the patents that are coming in. I have represented a startup here locally that was friends of ours from Arthur D. Little. They created a company back in 2001 on technology they developed in '99. They tried to pursue starting a company. They never got past their initial funding. They did, however, to get 3 patents and 4 applications. And out of the blue, one of these finders called them up and said, would you consider selling your IP? Why? They had never addressed that before. And then the second call came from another finder, and the third call came from another finder. What they found out is that the patents that they had been awarded were in such a valuable field. It's actually wireless transactions, which is a growth market right now, which is where some people are pursuing a lot of business and product development. They needed these patents to make sure they were protected and wouldn't be gone after by a troll. And they didn't want to see them in the hands of trolls. It would stop their business. So it's funny, we also found that 2 of these finders that were talking to us were from the same parent company. And they didn't know they were finders both out there looking for the same thing. That's just one strategy. You got to be careful. You got to check these companies out when they come to you. It's like when you get a phone call about somebody wanting to sell you something, or I don't know how often my car has to go through a warranty basis, but they keep calling me. Be careful, check them out, validate who they are. Just don't accept on face value that this company that has the money can do it on our own, that they're not searching for something.